So we will be looking at how to detect the objects with Selenium. Right. Today we will be looking at how to detect objects on a web page using Selenium. Right. Now, in the last class, I told you how to dynamically open the browser and all everything. For example, in the source folder, I create a new class. Say the class as Yahoo. Hold on. Fine. Say the class as Yahoo.java. Okay. Right. Now, in this class, I write WebDriver driver equals to new Firefox driver. Okay. Then I go to the website. Oh, sorry. Hold on. Yahoo.com. Say after going to Yahoo.com, you have to perform an operation. For example, you need to write in, or you want to click on a button or link, right? So basically, you have to interact with the components on the web page, right? So how do you interact with the components on the web page with Selenium? Okay, there are various ways to do it, fine, but primarily, like, I'll tell you how to do it. If you hold on. If you go to yahoo.com, right, so this is the web page, fine. Now out here, say you have to interact with any component. So how do you do that? Look, in Selenium, if you go to the seleniumxp.org, go to the download section, okay, and if you open the Java documentation, you will see the WebDriver interface. Hold on. Right, this is the interface WebDriver. Okay, if you look at the functions of this interface, then there is a function known as find element. Find element is a function which is there inside this particular WebDriver interface, and if you look at this function, what it does, it first finds the first web element using the given method. Now, what is a web element? Web element, okay, first of all, any component on the web page is categorized under web element. Any button is a web element, any link is a web element, anything on the page is basically a web element. Okay, and this there is an interface as well, web element inside Selenium. If you look at this interface, it's got some generic functions which can be performed with any component on the page. For example, clear, click, right? Get attribute, find element, right? So, or get text is displayed, is enabled, right? So these are the generic functions, send keys, submit, which can be performed with any web component on the web page. Okay, now when you write when you call the find element function, it returns you a web element. For example, on Yahoo, if I go to the mail section, or if you look at this text field, for example, if you simply write over here, driver dot find element, okay, that is go and find an element on the page. So you have to give a criteria. You have to give a criteria that on what basis are trying to find an element on the page. Okay, now for this you need some tool. Hold on. First of all, like if you what you need to do is that you need to install Firebug on your machine. Firebug will help you identify components on your web page. Okay, hold on. If you don't know what I'm telling you, just be with me. I'll install Firebug and you'll realize what it does. It's an analyzer, right, which helps you to analyze the HTML page source of the site. I'm sorry, just a minute. It is my voice okay now, or is it still breaking?
Still breaking.
Is my voice breaking for everyone?
Yes, sir, Chief.
No, Atif, it's okay for me.
Hold on. Sai, is my voice breaking for you? Sudha, is it breaking?
Now it's okay, Ashish.
Now it's okay?
Yeah, now it's okay.
Okay. So what I wanted to tell you was, before we move further, let us make an Excel file. Hold on. Right. I'm going to make an Excel file and I'll tell you the various components on a web page. Before that, I'll tell you about a tool known as Firebug. Okay. Open your Mozilla, it gets installed in Mozilla. It's add-on in Mozilla. And go to Google. Search for Firebug. Okay, right. So now you'll get the first option, that is Firebug add-on for Firefox. Is my voice breaking? Like people are saying that now. So you select the version of Firefox or Firebug which you want, right? And select the option Add to Firefox. It will be available with one of the Firebugs out here. Hold on. Yeah. For example, this you can add to Firefox. You click on Add to Firefox, it will get installed as an add-on in Firefox, and later on you will get a Firebug icon on the top right corner. Okay, so is my voice okay now? I hope you are able to hear me, right? So you will see a Firebug option on the top right side. Fine. When you click on it, Firebug opens up, and out here inside Firebug you will have this arrow, right? Out here there will be this arrow. Fine. So you click on this arrow and select HTML from here and move your mouse over any component. It will display the HTML code for that component. Okay. To understand Selenium, you need a fairly good idea. You need a fair idea about HTML language. It is very important. If you know HTML, then it is easy to work with Selenium because Selenium works on page source of the page. Right? I hope you are able to getting it. I hope you are able to get it. Suresh is asking a question: which version of Firebug are you using? The version depends on the the version depends on the version of Firefox which you are using. Okay. Vanaja is asking a question: does the same analyzer work with other browsers? For other browsers, there are other analyzers, right? For example, Chrome.
Ashish, these Firebug and Firefox versions, do we need to change it frequently or we need to keep one version for entire project?
You can keep one version, that's not a problem. Okay. If you have to do the same thing on Chrome you don't need to install anything which is already there. For example, on Chrome I have to analyze the text field of Google search. You can right click and you'll get the option inspect element. Okay, when you select this, the Chrome inspector opens up and the element is highlighted. Okay, in I you have got the I inspector. If you click F12 of the keyboard, it opens up. It's not so good. And hit F12, I inspector will open up. Right. So, but the concept is the page source across all the browsers. Right. If you have detected the object in Mozilla, the same object will be there in Chrome, and the same object will be there in IE. Okay. right? So hope my voice is okay for everyone. It's not bad, right? Now, if you understand how this stuff works, right? Then in this Excel file, I'm going to make some columns. I'll make a column known as object. I'll make a column known as tag name, and optional attribute. Okay. So what I mean to say is that in a Firebug, if you see, right, there are tags in HTML code which start from the conical bracket. Each tag represents a certain component on the page. For example, if I look at this link, the link has got an anchor tag A, and it's got an attribute known as title. It's right. So there are tags in there. For example, this is the tag div. It's got attribute known as ID. It's got attribute known as class. Okay. So every every tag has different attributes associated with it. So with the help of this tag names and the attributes, we can identify the objects on the page. For example, if you look at, hold on, yeah, if you look at this text field on the top, right, this text field will have the tag name as input, and all these are the attributes of this text field. So in this page, what I'll do is I'll jot down all the different types of objects which you have on a web page, right? And I'll analyze them one by one. For example, what all do you have? You have got text field, you have got buttons, you have got radio button, checkbox, drop down, link, that is also present on the web page, the regular text. What else is there? Right. So just let's have a look at this only. So these are the generic components which are present on any web page. Okay, if you look at text field, for example, on this web page of Yahoo, if I look at this text field on the top, this is the text field. The text field, all the text fields on all the web pages will always have the tag name as input. Okay, please note that all the text fields will always have the tag name as input. So if you look at this, then the tag name for text field is input. Okay, for a button, for example, if you have, is there any button on this page? If I go to the mail page, I think sign in is a button. Yeah, this is a button. Or create new account, it's a link. Hold on. Or if you go to my website, for example, a very simple example, if you go to qdbselenium.com, you click on member login and then you click on say Selenium users login and you'll see the login button out here. Okay, if you analyze a button, then every button also has got the same tag name input, which is there for a text field. Out here, input will be the tag name for the button as well. From my experience, I'm telling you, for radio button and checkbox, the same tag name applies. Tag name is same for text field, button, radio button, checkbox and drop down, but the attributes differ. Okay, now as I told you that every object has got some attributes. For example, this is the input field, it's got an ID attribute, it's got a class attribute, it's got the type attribute and all. Right. Out of all these attributes, there are some attributes which are mandatory, which have to be there with the object tag name. Right. And some of the attributes are optional. Fine. So in case of a text field, you will always find that this attribute is always there, type equals to text. In case of a text field, you will always find that type equals to text attribute is always present in the text field. In case of a button, the tag name will be input, but type equals to submit will always be there with the button. Right. So for a button, the type will be submit, the tag name will be input. For a text field, the tag name would be input, but the type would be text. For a radio button, the type would be radio, and for a checkbox, the type is checkbox. Fine. So for these four web components, the tag name is same, but the mandatory attributes they differ. Okay. For a drop down list, right? For a drop down list, for example, in where is the drop down? For example, if you go to my site only, and on my site you don't find it. Hold on, I'll just go to Google and just type over here HTML drop down. So you have this this thing over here. Now a drop down has got multiple values in it, right? So for example, if you look at the drop down out here, yeah. For example, this is a drop down. which has got multiple values. If you look at this drop down, then for the tag name of the drop down is always select. Okay, please note that the tag name of the drop down is always select. There is no mandatory attribute with select. You can have the optional attributes, but there is no attribute which will always be present with the select tag, and this is already visible, right? It is already visible that the select tag out here is not having any attribute. Okay, now if you expand the select tag, inside the select tag you will find various option tags. Each option tag corresponds to the value which is there in the text field. Okay, but for time being, we'll just see that there is a drop down which has got a tag name select, but there are no mandatory attributes for it. There can be optional attributes. I'll talk about them later on. Fine. For a link, there is always a tag name known as A, that is anchor tag, and for example, if you look at any link, if you look at the link over here, you will always find an attribute known as A anchor tag, and that will be associated with an attribute known as href, which will be the mandatory attribute, and it points towards the URL which opens when you click on the link. Okay, when you click on the link, right, the link actually takes you to the URL which is mentioned in the href attribute. Okay, for a link, href is the mandatory attribute, right? There is another component on the page known as images are there on the website, right? We'll talk about it. Now, for a normal text on the page, which is a regular text on the page, cannot be categorized under any tag name. Sometimes text is under a tag known as div, sometimes it is under a tag known as span, sometimes para, right? So there are various attributes, there are various tag names, right, under which the text can be present. There is no generic tag name for a text. Text can be present in any tag name, right? For an image, yes, for an image on the website, hold on. Yeah, for example, this is an image on the top. The logo is actually an image. The image will have the tag name as img, and there is a mandatory attribute known as source src, which points towards the URL from which the image is coming. For example, this image is coming from this URL. So if you actually go to this URL found by the website name, so you will see that this image is coming up from this particular URL. Okay, so for an image, the tag name is img, and there is a mandatory attribute known as source src, which represents the place from where the image is coming up. Okay, now you have got optional attributes. There are three major optional attributes. Sorry, four: ID, name, class. These are the four major optional attributes which can be or cannot be, like may not be present with any object. If they are present, then it's very good. Any one of them is present, then it's very good. Otherwise, it becomes a little tough. Right now, ID is something which can be used to uniquely identify an object on the page. Similarly, the name and ID are two such attributes which are supposed to be unique for every object. If the developer is good enough, then he would have given a unique ID to every object on the page. Okay, right? The class attribute is not unique. Multiple elements on the page can have the same class. I'll talk about it, right? I'll talk about it, that how multiple elements on the page can have the same class and what it actually means, right? But now let us look at this. There is a question being asked, what is the difference between ID and name? Look, both are different attributes. Okay, for example, if you go to the website, if you go to Gmail website, just a minute. Yeah, if you go to Gmail website, then if you try to log in, you are asked for email and password. Okay, if you look at this email field, this email field will have ID as well as name. Both are different attributes. The developer is very good. He has given both ID as well as name to the field. Okay, there is actually, they are not related to each other. They are just attributes. They can be present with the object. Okay, now if you look at Firebug, fine, and you go to the website again, yahoo.com. And if you look at this text field, which is the search text field on the top, this is the code of this text field. Okay, hold on. Now before I move further, let's go to our Eclipse. Fine. Over here, I have shown. I hope the concept is clear to you about the various HTML components. That what all components can be on the page, what all are the tag names, and what all are the mandatory and optional attributes with the tag. Right. So using this combination, we detect the objects. If the object has got an ID or a name, then it becomes very easy to identify. Otherwise, it becomes a little tough. Okay. Now, if you write out here driver.find element by the, you can select the parameter by which you want to find the object. By is the external class in Selenium. If you look at the documentation, hold on, find element function takes the reference of by class. By is another class in Selenium which has got various locator strategies. That means it has got various mechanisms used to locate the elements. Okay, when you write over here by dot, you got various functions by the ID, by the link text, by the class name, by the name. Okay, so there are various functions. So I'll select over here by the ID, and you can give the ID of the Yahoo text field. The ID of the Yahoo text field is this. Okay, so the find element function will return with the reference of web element interface. Okay, or after this you can also write web element pass or username is equal to driver dot find element with the criteria by dot name. Okay, if you look at this text field, then the name for the text field is, so this will find the username as well. Now the question arises, what if by chance there are two objects on the page with the same ID or the same name, or there are multiple objects on the page with the same ID or same name? Look, driver dot find element function. First of all, before I move further, you don't have to go to this what do you say Java docs inside seleniumhq.org again and again. You can import the Java documentation into your Eclipse. Okay, you have to simply go here. I'm telling you how to bring this documentation into Eclipse. You go to the Java doc link out here, right? You right click on it and you select copy link location. Okay, you select this copy link location and go to the project, right? Go to the properties, go to the location of the jar. Okay, go to the location of the jar, the location where you have stored all the jar files, right? Out here, you will have the jar, Selenium Java 2.35.jar. Expand this, select the Java doc location and paste the URL. Okay, paste the URL. Now when you move a mouse over find element, hold on just a minute. It's not coming. You have to remove, I forgot, you have to remove index.html from the end. Remove index.html from the end. Okay, now if you move a mouse over this find element and all, so you will get the description of the function inside Eclipse only. If you click on any link over here, the Java docs will open up inside Eclipse itself. Okay, So this way you don't have to refer the internet again and again. You have to switch over to the frames version and this frames version, and it will be easy. Okay, now coming to the point which I was discussing, that if I am writing over here that driver dot find element by the name this or by the ID this. Look, first of all, if there are multiple objects on the page with the same name or the same ID, what will you do? Look, when Selenium scans the page, it scans the page like this, from the top left to the top right, and it goes like this, from top to bottom, right? Now, if there are 3 objects on the page with the same ID, which should not be there because ID is supposed to be unique, but if there are 3 objects on the page, one is here, one is here, and one is here. So Selenium will use the first object if you write driver.find element. Driver.find element finds the first element on the page with the criteria. What if you want the second one, or what if you want the third one? We will talk about that later on, right? But driver.find element will always give you the first one, right? Now, if I want to write something in this username, or I have to perform some operation, you can use the functions which are there in Webelement Interface. If you look at this Webelement Interface, hold on, yeah, this is the Webelement. Hold on. Represents an HTML element. Okay, so if you write over here username dot the function send keys, this will go to the web page and type in something inside the text. Right? Okay. Suppose this had been a link. You want to click on the link. Then you would have used the function username dot click function is available in the web element as well. Okay. When you run this program, hold on. You see that it goes to the Yahoo mail. It is going there. Hold on, and it's written hello inside the text field. Okay, right? So this is how it works. Fine. I will stop here for today because the next thing which I want to discuss is about